this. Weren't we going to wear matching outfits? And I said I have a bunny suit, and you were like, cool.
yeah, cool, Joe.
I remember this conversation.
Oh, man.
This is awkward.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, we have a hair-raising good time together. Now.
This is hot. I'm going to change. If you're not going to wear your bunny suit.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not.
Can you unzip me?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, bud.
All right, thank you.
All right, hop along, and I guess I'll get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Jory Burson, and my colleague Joe the Bunny is joining me here. But as he derobes, I want to tell you a little bit about the first, we're going to talk about the first 200 days of our adventures as the OpenJS Foundation Cross-Project Council. But just for some context, even though the OpenJS Foundation itself is a newer organization, we're built on a pretty long history of open collaboration that really started like a long time ago with the jQuery project, with the Dojo projects, independently coming together and realizing, hey, we need to work together in some neutral way to govern and grow our communities. So, we've seen this as a community. If you started in JavaScript development in the 2000s, with those projects, with Node announcing and then growing to the point that eventually it needed a foundation, and then realizing that, hey, in 2017 and 2018, there's a bit of a duplication of efforts here. Like, we could probably do more together than we can separately. So, like, let's share this experience. Let's share this this burden together and kind of build from there. So, where do we fit into this? Is sort of the next question. Like, if we think about our foundation having a bit of an origin story, this long history of growing and learning and sharing. Like myself, I came into the picture with jQuery in the late 2010s, and I started watching my colleagues who were working on jQuery, and I got involved in the project and said, gosh, this is really fascinating. Like how these groups are coming together to decide, what sorts of things we should add to our project is very. It's really cool. Like it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And I enjoyed working in a team that way, and that kind of started my falling down the rabbit hole, if you will, into open source.
Yeah, and I started when I worked at Sears a long time ago. If anyone remembers Sears. And when I was there was a really great community of developers there in terms of the team. We were doing a lot of brown bag lunch and learns and going to meetups, and a really great community. And from there, everywhere I went, I was always kind of trying to replicate that or find that again. Ended up working at Strongloop and IBM, and got involved in the Node Foundation and found it to be a welcoming community and also very accessible because everything that we were doing was out in the open. So that's how I got into it. And I think, following along on that thought, the foundation, I think we have some notes here too, huh? No?
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, they're in my head. We had started the foundation, the project moved into the foundation, and all of that activity was happening online and working through it. And
definitely like in a radically open sort of way.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of one of those values that having brought forward from the Node project into the foundation that is sort of an example of experience, lessons learned,
exactly.
That kind of sort of thing.
So the intent to merge was announced last year at node.js Interactive, and immediately we started kind of doing this radical in the open collaborating. And this is at the Collab Summit on the left in the big picture, but even the window, the post-it notes, that was during the event. We broke off into different groups and started to talk about how something like this could work and how things would come together and how we would kind of bring all of the things that we had in both the foundations together to make a greater space.
I loved it because it was like this immediate excitement to like, great, we're sharing this next step with the community, like let's get started on it like right away. And, so hey, we got this beautiful glass wall, let's sticky it up and get to work.
And in that instance too, it was 2 people from the JS Foundation and 2 people from the Node Foundation, new people getting together and working things out. It was really great.
So we hope that you imagine now sharing our origin stories here, like this could be, hopefully this is part of your origin story with Foundation. Like imagine yourself 5 years from now thinking about right now when you get involved with me, I don't know, whatever. So we thought, that was just over a year ago now, and since we announced our intent to merge and then we became officially the OpenJS Foundation in March of this year, we've had over 40 cross-project council meetings of an hour or more. So this is lots and lots of hours of lots and lots of people's times, all on the open. That we've been broadcasting these things on YouTube. You can go read the minutes on GitHub, and we've had we're growing 66 people and counting to our GitHub organization, and these are people who are joining the cross-project council and participating in some way.
Yeah, and there are a few other repos there as well, like the summits that people are getting involved in. And I just wanted to comment too that, Jory wanted to put a hard line on the CPC meetings, like when we were the official CPC, but we were the Bootstrap committee before that working on, making this happen. So it was actually well over 40 meetings. But yeah, we have 217 commits to the CPC repo as of yesterday morning or something. So lots of activity. I found this graph. This is from, pretty much from the event, the last year's Node.js Interactive, and for the first third of that is the Bootstrap work, and then we just renamed the project. But that's a lot of activity. It's been really great.
A lot of people from a lot of different projects working really hard.
Yeah, and we have this collaboration page, openjsf.org/collaboration, where you can, there are a variety of resources there, but in particular, links to the GitHub work that we're doing, which, like I said, everything that we're doing is out in the open. Streaming meetings, meeting notes are being merged in, all these things.
Yeah, definitely. So check this out. So, the next question is okay, we're doing all this stuff in the open, and you might be going, okay, great, but why? What's the purpose of the cross-project council? What do you do? And really, for us, we were thinking about this as the task of helping our community build their communities. Each of our projects is special and has their own needs, and they're unique and they're awesome. And we want to support that. We want to encourage that. We want to grow that. But there's also a lot of shared needs, and there's a lot of great things we can learn from each other, and there's a lot of synergy we can create if we are building those communities together. So I love this analogy of an urban city, right, where that city has its own sort of identity, but within the city there's also lots of communities that make it up, that make it rich, that make it meaningful and awesome. And so that's what we hope to be able to foster. We're 200 days in, so it takes a long time to build an awesome city, but
Project Neighborhoods. Project Neighborhoods,
yes. So we wanted to tell you a little bit about what we're doing with all of this energy, and again, 200 days is not a super lot of time, but I think we've made pretty good progress.
We meet weekly. I keep thinking eventually we'll go every other week, but we have a full agenda every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe when we retire. So what have we been talking about with those hours? We are obviously spending a lot of time thinking about creating and sustaining community programming, which we'll tell you a little bit more about some of those programs here in a minute. But there's a lot of things we want to provide.
Yeah, and we've already got 4 new projects to the foundation, so there's been a lot of work around that. Not only evaluating applications, but also what does the process look like? And then as people are coming in too, we're learning through that process and updating. And what's great is the people that are coming in are contributing. They're creating pull requests and issues and driving some of these conversations. So it's been really great.
Yeah, and I want to thank Toby Langell with the AMP project, who's been like super helpful to that regard. So we're onboarding our new incubating projects. We've got our existing projects that we're helping to update their policies, and also making sure that we're sharing best practices across our projects, and also very importantly, supporting our maintainers, right? So the maintenance of these projects is huge, and we want to make sure that everybody feels like they have the support and the resources of the ecosystem behind them when they have to do whatever it is they need to do.
Yeah,
with the
there's lots of stuff going on.
So. Lots of stuff. So we hope that you're excited about all of this stuff, and we tell you about a little bit of the projects now, some of our programs, and this is just like the start. So bear that in mind.
Yeah, so the Travel Fund is one of the programs that we're working on currently. It was started in the Node Foundation in 2016. We've had over 30 requests approved in 2019. I know of several people who are here because of the Travel Fund, so it's really great. If you get involved and you want to come to Austin in June, where the event will be next year, that's something you could consider as someone a part of the work that we're doing. And it started in the Node Foundation, but there are a few projects that we're looking to elevate to allow other projects to take greater advantage of this.
And I think Jonah from Webpack is an example of just somebody from the community who says, "Hey, I want to help champion this and evolve this a little bit more." So
yeah, he was great. That's another thing. Like if you're interested in getting involved, like Jory was saying, Jonah just volunteered, and we've got a lot of great people in the community that if you volunteer, they're happy to help support you. It's just not something that they may be able to champion, but we've got a lot of folks that are ready to support anyone who wants to get involved and get active.
Yeah, so with this, we're really hoping to make sure that anybody who's a contributor to our project communities feels like this is a resource they can access to help get them places they may not be able to go because perhaps an employer doesn't quite sponsor all the costs and all that sort of thing. So very valuable. So another program that we're working on is the Standards Working Group in the OpenJS Foundation. So, open source and open standards are two halves of a coin that are very important, and they're very important to me. And we are a proud member of the W3C and also ECMA International, which is the group behind TC39. There is a lot of feedback we can be providing the standards community. There's a lot of feedback the standards community can be providing us. We want to make sure that folks who are active in our project communities feel they have a voice in these spaces and understand how they can get involved. We are constantly having those conversations with folks like Wendy from the W3C, who was here a little earlier. We want to make that a very clear program and benefit for our project communities.
Yeah, and on that note too, like maintainers have enough work to do. Like if we can help them as a part of the foundation to work with these standards groups, and then bring things back to the projects, it's definitely something we'd like to do. User feedback is another program that started in Node, and it started in 2017. That image there is one of the surveys that we did. This seems like another thing that would be great for more projects in the foundation. The idea is we would have a framework in place, and this is fairly fleshed out. I need to still move the repo over to the OpenJSF.org, but a framework in place where projects who are trying to make decisions but want to get data on questions they may have can craft these questions, work with the foundation to maybe further flesh them out, to make sure they're going to get the data points that they're looking for, and then the foundation can help them execute and return some data back to them to help them make these decisions and work through different whether they're features or what have you. Can be very helpful.
I mean, I'm really excited about this particular program because I think it will be awesome when we can, as a community, work in a more like data-driven way, and we have this sort of like system for how we ask questions of our community, and we integrate the feedback and the lessons learned from those questions. One thing, here's a program idea. Anybody love like BigQuery and HTTP archive and all that sort of stuff? Like, let's do some stuff with that. You know,
That'd be great.
That'd be great feedback.
Yeah.
Infrastructure. So this is another set of programs that we're really just sort of diving into. All of these open source projects need infrastructure, and it is a mess sometimes. So we have a menu of services that the infrastructure services that the foundation provides, and that's sort of a baseline in terms of what a project might need in terms of servers, in terms of CI support, domains. And that's sort of just the starting point. But there's lots of other infrastructure needs too that especially some of our larger projects might have, and we are excited about getting more into helping ease the burden for those projects when it comes to their infrastructure needs. And that's certainly a space that if you have DevOps skills, if this is something that you are excited about influencing, this is a program that I want desperately to talk to you about.
Yeah, and the node project in particular, that's something that we're working on for sure. And then with AMP joining, we have a session tomorrow to kind of work through some of those thoughts as well, which is my segue.
Okay, great.
So another program that we are managing and trying to build upon is the Collaborator Summit, which I mentioned. We have a bunch of great sessions there tomorrow. Some around Node, some around AMP, some around just kind of general how do we support these projects better. We have a bunch of open time for the cross-project council to kind of flesh some of the things that we're working out further. What else for the Collab Summit?
Well, I think it's just a really, it's a wonderful time for people from all the different project communities to come together and talk about some of those shared experiences and shared concerns like security, for example, or infrastructure, as I mentioned before, but also, and how to solve those things tactically, but also for more of like the blue sky conversations of like, what could we be doing? What can we do to make things, even better? And that's one of the main topics of the conversation tomorrow. So we're hoping to seed that now a little bit.
Yeah, we had, I think the one in Berlin was kind of the first one that was opened up beyond Node, and we had some really great, healthy conversations and different voices in these conversations, and I found it to be really a great event.
Likewise.
Yeah.
So these are some specific programs we've talked about, but there's also a lot of other benefits to projects within the foundation that the CPC helps facilitate to a large extent. One is for our projects providing some just legal support. There's obviously the standard, IP policies and things like that. But, you may be saying, oh, well, I want to understand a little bit more about the difference between, should my project have a CLA? Should we use the DCO? What should we do? Like, these are kinds of questions that the foundation staff and the support from the CPC, your peers in the community, can help you answer. Project governance support. There's a lot of years of experience managing open source projects among the individuals on the CPC. For example, Dylan Scheinman, who's with the Dojo project, he's been around for a while, right? Like, dude has seen some stuff. So if you have questions, if you're running into, gosh, what should I do? You need some advice. There's so many people who are willing to help mentor you, not just on a project, but also like in your career. They're like awesome people.
Yeah, agreed.
And then, of course, I would be totally remiss if I didn't talk about the staff's marketing and PR. Rachel Romoff is just amazing, and our new executive director, Robin, not Robert, bring with them a lot of marketing and PR expertise to help you kind of think about your project, your positioning, like how to tell the story that you want to tell to your community, to potential consumers, to potential individual contributors as well about your project. What else? If there's anything that, and again, bearing in mind that we're still new CPC, 200 days, if there's anything that you see missing or you'd like to see us do or you think we could be doing better, which is probably, not, like, it's probably a lot, right? Like, there's always room for improvement.
Yep.
We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, there are a variety of ways to get involved, and we wanted this to kind of, come to a call to action of sorts. Like we've said, we work out in the open. The magic happens in issues and PRs. We have a good, well-documented proposal process. So if you get involved and there's something you're interested in, you can follow those steps. It's not too hard. Help and improve and maintain existing programs. There's a lot of work to be done, and we've got a great group of people, but we could definitely use more and start to split off into some working groups and things like that too, where we can really focus on things.
Yeah, and so we adopted for program ideas, for improvements, that sort of thing, we adopted a staging process because we're engineers, right? So it's like, oh, we're going to do this like TC39 does, we're in the staging process. So, ideas that we say are stage 0 or stage 1, these are sort of like, they're up for grabs. Somebody threw some spaghetti at a wall and they thought, like, this might be a good idea. And we're like, yeah, that could be a good idea. Let's save that. And we're looking for, help or support with that. So like Commons.js is one idea. Outreach groups is another idea. I don't know, I always feel like I'm one of those who's like, here's a bunch of spaghetti. Yeah.
And again, we're going to have some sessions at the Collab Summit tomorrow and the next day, so we're going to work on these further.
Yeah, so please join us.
Yeah, I pointed this out earlier, but I'll share it again. openjsf.org/collaboration. I usually type in collaborate and then remember it's collaboration. But it has links to getting involved on Slack, the mailing lists, the calendars up there. I don't know if the YouTube link is specifically up there, but I'm going to ask to get that up there. Like we said, our meetings are open, observers are encouraged, but also they're live streamed. Our meetings are live streamed, and meeting notes are PR'd into GitHub, which reminds me I have to get the last few meetings PR'd in.
Yeah, we have a number of different channels, as you said, like, and they're all open to you, right? So, like, you don't have to wait to be invited to the Slack channel. If you just click that link, you too. And thank you for so many of you who are joining the Slack channel this week at the event. So that's awesome. Yeah. We have a mailing list if that's how you prefer to consume updates. About once a week, I send a massive email about what we've been up to. So there's plenty of ways to get news you can use, which is the title of my newsletter.
Yes, so we are going to have an open office hours like now, 4 p.m. or pretty much once I can put my bunny suit away. And Jory's got to go get ready for a panel, but I think Michael offered, and Michael voluntold Chris Hiller to come. So there'll be a few of us there. We'd be happy to answer questions and talk more about any of these things. Emily's here as well. I just voluntold him. So yeah, we'd be happy to chat. So that's kind of in the couch area and the sponsor area we'll plan to be.
Yeah, so we'll just throw this up here one more time. Our direct messages are open. I know that for it can be a little intimidating to join, a group of people who've been collaborating for a while. We want to totally eliminate that intimidation factor for you. So if there's a thing in the world we can do to help you get hooked into some of the stuff that's going on with any of our project, with the Cross Project Council, please let us know. That is exactly what we're here for. Yep. And we hope to see you very soon in Slack at the meetings.
Yep, and GitHub.
On GitHub.
Yep. In our meetings in Zoom, there's a little button where you can raise your hand. So if you feel like you're not getting an opportunity to speak, we pay attention to that and make sure everybody's voices get heard and work through it.
Yeah. So cool.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Honey Bunny.